Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Please confirm to me, guys. So all of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Please check it. All of you get my voice on screen, guys. Right. Good morning. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Wait. Right. Good morning, guys. Right. And today we are going to start another new topic that will be servlets in advanced Java. Right, sir. Then advanced Java, we have seen totally. JDBC, some of you might be almost all completing the JDBC content, and some of you are having in the middle of this JDBC. But anyway, today we are going to start like what there, a new content. That content would be like what there, servlets. Okay, right, sir. Fine. Okay. In the same link, I think so. Then, if you want to get the document link, that's it. I'll share that link also to you. Then folder link given there for this, so you can take it and you can go for that document, everyday class document. That's it. Give a minute of time. Let me open it. Right. Guys, everybody now take this link details now. Then regular class notes you are able to get here. Okay. Let me check once whether it is working or not. Right. Now we are getting it. No problem. This is a link for our notes, regular notes. This is a folder share I have given. Inside this, of course, JDBC content and as well as like what there. And this today's servlets topic is also existed. Fine. This I'm telling there servlets document notes. servlets nodes. Now, and this is like what I'm telling there, JDBC nodes. 1 minute. Right, so now I want to change this one. JDBC, this is JDBC. Let me use this. Right, sir. Now this is servlets. Right. So every day class notes we are able to get here. From here we can check it. This is a URL here I'm giving now. So next one is right, sir. And I'm giving clarity. Those who are attending 10 o'clock advanced Java, this JDBC notes is not required for you. Think of it. Already given one link for you at 10 o'clock. There we can check for JDBC. Just this is for the previous students. I'm giving there. Right, sir. Anyway, then now let's come for our content here, servlets. All right, sir. Now, all of you understand this. Very first topic is like what exactly the servlets, what is the requirement of the servlets, and what is the need to go for servlets. These points here we have to understand clearly. So if you want to introduce that, I'm giving some path to you, try to understand it now. Servlets is basically a server-side technologies. Servlet is basically what there, a server-side technology. Means that whatever the environment we have seen up to now, whatever the environment we have seen up to now in programming, that is at one side. From servlets point of view, right from the servlets concepts now, we are going to see a different world of programming, a different era of programming we are going to understand. So, servlets is a server-side technology. It can be used to prepare web applications. It can be used to prepare what their web applications. Web application is one type of an enterprise application. Web application is what there? One type of an enterprise application. Observe carefully. So, an enterprise application. First, we have to understand like what there an enterprise application. Then after that, we will go for what there web applications. Then after that, we are going to understand like what there servlets. So, because of that reason here, what I'm telling to you, try to understand it. By using by using Java programming language, by using Java programming language, we are able to prepare two types of applications. We are able to prepare what there two types of applications. What are the two types of applications here we are able to prepare there? Very first one is standalone applications. First one is what there standalone applications, and second one is like what there enterprise applications. Standalone applications are what their enterprise applications. These enterprise applications in general, we may call it as distributed applications. These enterprise applications is also be called as like what their distributed applications. Understand it clearly, all of you know. By using Java, what type of applications here we are able to prepare there? Right, sir. Two types of applications. What are the two types of applications here now? Right, sir. First one is what their standalone applications, and second one is what their enterprise application or what their distributed applications. All right, sir. Now let me show one diagram here through that I want to explain to you clearly. Observe carefully. You know already in the previous introduction classes I might be discussed about this point, but still again we have to understand the same thing. Why? Because this is a solid introduction part for servlets. What is the need to go for servlets and all we are going to understand. All right, so now Java is a programming language. By using this Java programming language, we are able to prepare two types of applications. All right, the very first one is like what I'm telling to you, standalone applications, and the second one is what their enterprise applications. All right, let's come for the standalone applications. No, standalone applications. Second one is an enterprise application. Might be people are calling it as like what they're distributed application. Later on, I'll go for that clarification. All right. First of all, what is the standalone application? What is the meaning of the standalone application? All of you observe carefully. Standalone applications. If you observe this, what exactly the meaning of standalone application? If you observe this, number of times I've given definitions for it. Now try to understand it. No, if we design and execute, if we design and execute any application without using client server architecture or without distributing distributing application logic over multiple machines, then that that application is called standalone application. Understand this clearly. That application is called as what there standalone application. Right. So many times we discussed about this point now. If we design and execute any application without using client server architecture or without distributing application logic over multiple machines, then that application is called standalone application. Right. Understand this clearly. Again, there are two types of standalone applications. In general, what are the two types of standalone applications now? First one is CUI applications, and the second one is what there GUI applications. First one is what there CUI applications, and second one is what there GUI applications. Understand it clearly now. Then here we have a question now. What exactly the difference between CUI application and GUI applications? Right, sir. What is the difference between a CUI application and a GUI applications? Observe carefully. This is a question. No? Already I discussed in the GUI part, the same topic. No, but again we are going to see the content. Now try to recognize this. All right, sir. In the diagram here we can understand there are two types of standalone applications. First one is CUI and second one is what the GUI. I'll explain to you clearly what is this actually. CUI application and GUI application. Fine. Now, for example, I prepared a Java program. For example, I prepared a Java program. This is my Java program. A program name is like what there add.java, just adding two integer values. Then I want to get some result, some integer value, another integer value is what the result I want to get. Add.java, that is my Java file. When we prepare this Java file, then we need to compile and execute this program or not? Definitely here we have to compile and execute this program or not? So now here I'm going to open command prompt. I'll open command prompt. Now this is command prompt. Now inside this command prompt, go to the location where we prepared this Java file. I might be specify the location is what there we can understand d:/Java 7 for example. In this location I prepared this add.java file. So here I'll go to the location there d:/Java 7. That's okay. Right, sir. Morning Java 7. Now I want to compile this program Java C space add.java Java C space add.java. This is what we are getting. Okay, my program compiled successfully. My program is not having any error. Everything is fine. Next one is d:/Java 7. There we have to go for like what there Java space add. I need to provide that main class name. Observe this. Inside my add.java file, main class name is what there add. Right. When I provide Java space add on my command prompt, immediately here it is asking like what there first value. It is asking about like what their first value. There we have to enter the first value like what their 10, for example, and click on enter button. Then after that, when I click on enter button, now it is asking like what their second value. Dynamic input, it is asking their second value. Then I'm going to provide like what their 20 as a second value here now. Then when I click on enter button, here my program is displaying addition result is what their 30, for example, or else maybe addition result is what their 30. In place of this addition, maybe we can understand like what their result, for example, result is what their 30. It is getting there clearly now. Everybody observe this clearly. Now, in this overall scenario, what exactly the data input I provided, what exactly the data I got some output no. If you observe this, 10 is what their 10 is what their input data, and 20 is what their again input data. But what is this 30 no? 30 is what their output data. Am I right or not? 30 is what their output data. 10 and 20 are what their input data. 30 is what their output data. Observe carefully. All right. One more small comparison here I'm telling to you. Now try to observe this carefully. Right, sir. Program is existed here. Now this is command prompt. Now user is existed here. This is user existed here. Right. Now understand this clearly. This is program. Here user is existed. User is interacting with this program through command prompt. Am I right or not? User is interacting with the program through this command prompt. In the point of program, if you stand at program there, this command prompt is acting as an user interface or not? This is an interface. Interface is a middle one existed between program and the user. And this interface is providing environment to interact with our program or not? What is the requirement of interacting with the program there? Just to provide some input data to the program and to get some output data from the program. So we need some interface between user and program. Understand my point, Kiano? So this interface is providing a bridge between user and program in order to provide some data to the program, input data, in order to get some output data from the user. Everybody understand this clearly now. So this bridge, this command prompt is acting as an user interface. This is acting as like what their user interface. And this user interface is supporting which type of data? Here we have taken like what their command prompt. Am I right or not? Here we have taken like what their command prompt. What type of data it is supporting there? It is supporting only character data or any graphics. Is that command prompt is displaying any images to us? Is that command prompt is displaying any text fields or radio buttons or checkboxes like that? No, command prompt is not providing graphics related content. Command prompt is supporting only any type of data in the form of characters only. In the form of like what their text data only. Am I right or not? So character oriented data only it is able to support. It is able to support what their character oriented data only. Got my point or not? So this user interface is supporting only character data. So this user interface is called as like what their character user interface. Character user interface. In short, we are able to say this is what their CUI. In short, we are able to say it is what their CUI, character user interface. On the basis of this character user interface, on the basis of this CUI, we prepare the Java program. So this Java program or the Java application is called as CUI application. This character user interface, on the basis of this character user interface only, we prepare this application. So this application is called as like what their CUI application. Everybody understand my point clearly what I'm telling you now. So now the definition is very much clear. What is my definition here? CUI application is a Java application. It was designed in such a way to take input to data from the users through the command prompt, to provide output to data to the user through the command prompt, where command prompt is acting as a user interface and it is supporting only character data. So this type of application is called as like what their CUI application. Right, sir. Now let's come for the definition here clearly. What exactly the meaning of CUI application? CUI application is a standalone application first. CUI application is a standalone application. It was designed in such a way to take input data from users through the command prompt, and it will provide and uh, and to take and to take and to provide output data to the users output data to the users through the same command prompt to the same command prompt. Here is acting as command prompt is acting as an user interface, and it is supporting only characters data, supporting only characters data. That's it. This is what exactly the meaning of like what their CUI application. All right, sir. That's okay, fine. Now this is a basic awareness on like what their CUI application. Next one is similarly, what is this GUI application? Or before that, now let me copy this particular diagram here. Just I want to give the diagram here. No, all right, sir. CUI application definition and the respective diagram here we provided here. Understand it clearly. Not required to write anything. Just listen the content here. No, see, introduction part is very important. Why introduction part is very important? No, just my intention of discussing all these points is what? To introduce servlets. I given already one path. Servlets is a server-side technology. It can be used to prepare web applications. So there we have to understand what is web application. There I'm giving the link. Web application is one type of enterprise application. So there we have to understand what is an enterprise application. Enterprise application we can prepare by using Java. So if we take Java, by using Java, two types of applications we are able to prepare. One is a standalone application, then other one is what their enterprise application. Now just brief introduction I'm giving about what their standalone application. Once you understand standalone application, then we'll move to what their enterprise application. There we are going to understand what is web application. There we are going to understand what is a servlet. From that point onwards, we are going to understand continuously servlets kernel. So this is the brief like introduction why I'm taking all these points kernel. Leave this point here. Next one is what exactly the meaning of GUI application. What is this GUI application kernel? Let's observe carefully. All right, sir. Now, okay, I want to go for one more thing. Now, try to understand this. One more diagram. Try to observe carefully. Already we are aware about this type of introduction, but still, for a startup purpose, I'm talking about it. Now, try to understand it. I prepared a Java file again. I prepared one Java file. My Java file name is like what there? Add.java. I prepared a Java file. My .java file is what there? Add.java. Right, sir. Next one is after this. Right, sir. I need to compile and execute my program. Whenever we prepare .java file, say for example, I prepared this .java file where d:/java 7 for example. There I prepared add.java. I want to compile and execute my program. So here I need to take like what their command prompt here we have to take. So this is the command prompt. Okay, right. Now inside this command prompt, go to the location where you saved your Java file. That is what their d:/java 7. Their compiled Java file, Java C space add.java, compiled successfully. We don't have any error as of now. Next one is d:/java 7. I want to execute it. So use Java command. There we have tried like what there add Java space add. Understand it clearly. When I provide Java space add on command prompt, when I provide Java space add on command prompt, immediately added.java program is executed. This add.java program is providing a window for us. Sorry, add.java file is providing what there? A window for us. This is a window provided by add.java file. Observe carefully. Now here we are having title bar. So this is close option. This is maximize option. This is minimize option. All the things are existed here. Then after that, now here we are able to have like what there close option here. This is like what I'm telling to you, a window. Whenever we are getting this window, immediately here we are having some labels. First one is like what there, first value, label. Next one is what there, second value, second value. Then after that here we are having like what there, result. Then after that here we have a button. The label of the button is what there, add. Let's see this one. Here we are having a text field to enter the first value. Here we are having another text field to enter like what there, second value. So no text field is available to display the results now. Now initially the result is like what there, 0 is available initially. Right, sir. Now this is like what there, button. Next one is like what there, a button here we are having. So this is my a window. A window is provided here. Simply we can call it as what there, a graphical components, the graphics components what we are having here in the form of this window. Right. Now here we are having user. This is user basically. This is like what their user. This is user. Everybody understand this clearly. This is user. Nice. Observe carefully. When user is getting this type of window, then what user is going to do? Immediately, what user is going to do? By seeing this first value text field, second value text field and add button, when he see that, immediately user will provide some input data here or not. He provided 10 is a value, and here he'll provide like what is it, 20 is a value. Observe carefully. Now this is input data, and this is also be like what their input data. All right, sir. Then after providing this 10 and 20, immediately user will click on like what their add button. User will click on like what their add button. When we click on this add button, then what happened here? Initially 0 is available. In place of 0, 10 plus 20 internally, of course, program will take 10 and 20 as an input data. Program will perform addition operation over 10 and 20. Then it able to provide 30 as a result to the result field. 30 as a result to what their result field here. Here we are getting 30 as a value here now. Observe carefully. Now this 30 is like what there, what is this actually? This 30 no output to data. This is not input data. Now it is what there, 30. 30 is what there, output to data. Here we are getting. Observe carefully. 30 is like what there, output to data. Right. The same scenario. User is existed here. Program is available here. Between user and program, which one is acting as an interface now? Which one is acting as an interface now? This window is acting as an interface or not? This window contains graphical components. The window contains graphical components is acting as an user interface or not? Answer my point here. Now this user interface is supporting which type of data? Graphics data. This user interface is supporting which type of data? Graphics data. Means that the data through graphical components. The data which is through graphical components. Understand this clearly. So here the user interface, now this is acting as like what their user interface. Why? Because user is interacting with the program through this particular window only, through this particular graphical components only. So that's why it is called as what their user interface. This user interface is supporting which type of data? It is not supporting like that only character data. It is supporting the data through graphical components. It is supporting the data through what their graphical components. In these examples, only text fields have taken. Maybe if you go for more deeper example in a GUI, we are going to provide the data through list boxes, check boxes, radio buttons, maybe different GUI components we are going to provide. where the data is going to be flow through graphical components. Understand my point here? So this user interface is called as like what there, graphical user interface. This user interface is called as what there, graphical user interface. Understand my point here? First of all, this is a mediator between user and a program, and this is an interface. To interact with our program, user will use this interface. Or in the point of Java program, this interface is acting as what there, an interaction mode for user to connect with our Java program, to interact with our Java program. That's why it is called as what there, user interface. This user interface is supporting the data through graphic components. So that is what their graphical user interface. Now observe carefully. On the basis of this graphical user interface, we prepared this Java application. On the basis of this graphical user interface, we prepared this Java application. So this Java application is called as like what there, GUI application. The Java application is called as what there, GUI application. That's it. Now this is the basic meaning of like what there, GUI application. That is like what there, graphical user interface application. Right, sir. Good. Now some, for example, observe carefully here. Now this is the content here I'm taking there. Now let us go for the definition here. What is this GUI application there? GUI application is a standalone application. Right, sir? It's a standalone application. It was designed. It was designed in such a way. It was designed in such a way to take input to data through the collection of or window of whatever it may be, collection of collection of graphic components, and to provide output data through the same collection of graphics data, through the same collection of graphic components, where the collection of graphic components, collection of graphic components is called collection of graphic components is called graphical. That means user interface is called an user interface, and it is supporting graphics data. It is supporting what their graphics data, that is the data which is represented in the form of graphic components. That's it. Now this is what exactly the meaning of like what their geo application. Try to understand this clearly. Geo application is a standalone application. It was designed in such a way to take input data through the collection of graphic components and to provide output data through the same collection of graphic components, where the collection of graphic components is called an user interface, and it is supporting graphics data. That is the data which is represented in the form of what their graphic components. This is what exactly the meaning of like what their GUI application. Already I prepared this diagram here. Now try to understand this diagram now. All of you observe carefully. Right, now this is exactly the meaning of like what their graphic components here. Now here I'm telling one more point. Try to observe carefully. Standalone applications we understood clearly. Here the classification is very clear. What is this classification, sir? Now tell me. Standalone applications. This is a classification you will be provided. By using Java, we are able to prepare two types of applications: standalone applications and enterprise applications. Standalone applications are available in two forms: COI applications and GUI applications. Now we understood clearly the total content here. What is COI application? What is GUI application? All together. Now what I'm telling there, try to understand this clearly. To prepare to prepare standalone applications, to prepare what their standalone applications, Java has provided Java has provided predefined library in the form of the packages, like in the form of the packages like what there, or maybe in the form of J2SE, in the form of what there, J2SE. J2SE. That J2SE includes number of packages. Observe carefully. So Java has provided predefined library, or Java has provided a predefined module in the form of J2SE, where J2SE where J2SE provided some predefined library, in the form of Java dot, in the form of the packages like, what there, java.lang, java.io. Observe carefully. Already all these packages, no, java.util, for the sake of the GUI, java.applet. Next one is a java.awd, and java dot like what, the java x dot swing, and so on and so on and so on. So many things are existed here. Observe carefully. So these are like what, the J2SE packages what we are having clearly. Right, sir. That's okay, fine now. Then after that, GUI programming, this content here we provided clearly. Now let's see this one. After completion of this, after understanding this particular one, guys, observe carefully. What next one here? What type of programming here we have to understand there? Let's see this one here. What is the second one here? No, enterprise applications. Enterprise applications. Observe carefully. What exactly the meaning of this enterprise application? What is the meaning of this enterprise application? Everybody understand this clearly. Enterprise applications. The definition is very clear. Enterprise application, or what next one here? Distributed application. Both the names are okay, fine. Or distributed applications. Right, sir. What is the meaning of it? No. Listen carefully. For the standalone applications, already we understood the definition. If you design and execute any application without using client server architecture, or without distributing application logic over multiple machines, then that applications are called as what? Standalone applications. Similarly, if the point is what there, if we design and execute any application on the basis of client server architecture, or by distributing application logic over multiple machines, then that application is called, as distributed application, or we may call it as like what there, enterprise applications, or we may call it as like what there, enterprise application. This is the simple definition for like what there, distributed applications or enterprise application. Don't worry, I will take again some orientation for this distributed applications perfectly. Don't think about it much now. Just a definition here we can understand. Next one. How many types of distributed applications are available? There are two types of enterprise applications. What are the two types of enterprise applications? No. First one is like what there, web applications. Second one is what there, distributed applications. Observe carefully. There are two types of enterprise applications. First one is what there, web applications, and second one is what there, distributed application. Right, sir. Now I will give clarity. Now try to understand this point here. In the diagram, I want to introduce some other terminology also, but try to understand it. All right, sir. Now here we are having like what there, enterprise applications. You see this, two types of enterprise applications here. What are the two types of enterprise applications? No. First one is web applications. First one is like what there, web applications. And the second one is distributed applications. Distributed applications. And another terminology I'm providing frequently aligned with enterprise applications. What is the terminology here I'm providing there frequently? We may call it as, we may call these enterprise applications as what their distributed applications also. Either we can call them as like what their enterprise applications, or we may call it as what their distributed applications. Maybe either of this terminology here we can use. If we use enterprise applications terminology, then the two types are web applications and distributed applications. But if you use here distributed applications terminology, there we can understand, two types of these distributed applications. What are the two types of these distributed applications there? Observe carefully. The first one is like what I'm telling to you. Listen carefully. Web-based distributed applications. And the second one is like what there? Remote-based distributed applications. Guys, observe carefully. If you use the terminology enterprise applications, then the actual terminology is what there? Web applications and distributed applications. In place of these enterprise applications, if you say distributed applications, no, again there two types of applications are available. What are the two types of applications there? No, first one is what there? Web-based distributed applications. Second one is what there? Remote-based distributed applications. As per your interest, we can use either of this terminology, but frequently I'm going to use the terminology is what there? Enterprise applications, web applications, and distributed applications. Of course, both are valid. Both are valid. In some situations, in some conditions, we can say enterprise application or distributed application. If we say enterprise application, then two types, web applications and distributed applications. If you say like what there, distributed applications, if we think no, where again here we are having two types no. What are the two types here? First one is what there, web-based distributed applications, and second one is what there, remote-based distributed applications. Everybody understand this clearly now? Right, sir. They are the two types of applications here. We can understand now. Now here, I want to say like what there, web-based distributed applications, or we can say like what there, either web applications or web-based distributed applications, either distributed applications or what next one here, remote-based distributed applications. Remote-based distributed applications. That's it. Now here we are having a question. Guys, observe carefully. From now onwards, I'm going to use the terminologies what there, web applications and distributed applications. I may not you go for like what they're web-based and remote-based. Of course, no, nothing is wrong to use this particular terminology. We can use either of this. Right. Now we have an important interview question here. Yeah. From this point onwards, our deviation is very much clear. Try to put more concentration. Before this common introduction only, standalone applications we understood one or two times now. But from this point onwards, we have to go for some deviation. Now try to understand it clearly. Now the question is what? What are the differences between web applications and distributed applications? Web applications and distributed applications. Right, sir. What are the differences between web applications and distributed applications? Yes. Open online class, no? Hmm? Fine. Also, you are in offline, not required to attend in online, right? No problem. But don't do that. Better. Better to attend in either in offline or in online. Don't use that both. Okay? Stop it. Stop it. Come out. What is your name? Type your name there. After. Right. Right, sir. Let's come for this point here. All of you guys observe carefully. Now, what are the differences between web applications and distributed applications now? First, understand this. All internet applications are like what their web applications. For example, we have some websites. Number of websites are available. Every website, any website is like what their web application. Think of it. But what is distributed application? I will discuss with you later on. But understand it now. What exactly the meaning of web application? Right, first definition, the very first point is like what there. Web application is a client server application, first of all. Client server application. Listen carefully. Web application is what there? Client server application. Where, observe carefully, where the complete application logic, where the complete application logic is provided at a server machine. Where the complete application logic is provided at a server machine. Only a single server machine. Say for example, some news related websites are available. Say for example, what are these? No, enadu.net, something else like what here? Then some other maybe like globe might be indiatimes.com, something else like this. So where what happened there? Whether they are static pages or dynamic pages, that doesn't matter now. The point is what there. So the complete application, then whatever the server side application is available, the complete application is provided at a server machine only. The complete application logic is provided at what machine there? No, server machine only. I get my point or not? It is not distributed over multiple things. Application logic is provided at what they know at the server machine, but we are going to access it from client. That server side application we are going to access from what their client. So still it is client server application only. Still it is client server application only, but the complete application logic is available at the single server machine. So web application is a client server application where the complete application logic is provided at a server machine. But whereas, observe carefully, whereas what is this distributed application now? Observe carefully. Distributed application is a client server, is a client server application where the complete, where the complete application logic, complete application logic is distributed over multiple missions in the sense, that is multiple missions in the sense like what there, client and server mission, client and server mission. Observe carefully. I'll give some, that is client, that are client and server missions. Simple diagrams I'm going to provide. Now try to understand this clearly. Why? Because from this point onwards, we need to get clarity. What is web application? What is distributed application there? Then only we can understand our servlets effectively. First of all, now here, I'm telling to you, observe carefully what exactly these two know. Now here, I want to take, this is my server side application. Everybody understand this clearly. This is like what their server side application or maybe server mission. Now this is like what their client mission. This is like what their client mission. Web application architecture, I'm telling to you, this is like what their client mission. Between these two, here we have some like what their internet, some network. Internet or some network is existed. My total application is available like what there at a server mission. This is my program which is available at server mission. Of course, at server mission, server software is installed. Inside the server software, we deploy this application, this program. This is like what their server side application. Server side application, or we can call it as like what their web application. A simple web application. Right, sir. At the client mission, I need to interact with the server side application from client mission. So if you want to access web application from client, here what we require there, here we require a tool to interact with the server side application. Here we are going to use a tool. That tool is called as a browser. Where we required a tool to send a request to the server side application to get response from the server side application. That tool is called as like what there, a browser. When we have a browser, in the browser we are able to have what there, address bar. In this address bar, here we are able to write what there, some URL. Some URL here we are going to write. What is that URL here? HTTP colon slash something else. Understand it clearly. When we write this URL and when we click on enter button with this particular URL, automatically request will be submitted to the server side application. Where at server side application, server will take that request and server will identify the web application and server will execute this total web application. Server will execute what there? This total web application. By the execution of this total web application, it able to generate some response. That response will be given back to like what there? To the browser through the network. Of course, submitting request from client to server in the sense, first network will take that request. First, who will take that request? No, network will take that request. Observe carefully. And the network will carry that request from client mission to the server mission on the basis of the server IP address and port number. Then when web application execution is completed, some response might be generated. That response will be given back to what their client. Now that response is appeared on what their browser. On browser we can see that response can. So here we can see like what their response data. Right, sir. Now tell me, my entire server side application is available at a single server mission or not? Now browser is what there? Browser is acting as what there? A client. Really client is what there? A browser. Browser can send request to the web application. Browser can receive the response from what there? Web application. So this is web application design, web application architecture. Understand clearly? This is what I'm telling you now. Now, at the same time, what exactly the meaning of distributed application? What is the meaning of distributed application here? I'm giving clarity. Now try to understand this clearly now. Distributed application is like what there? Again, here it is a client server architecture. All of you observe carefully. This is my client and this is like what there? Server. Everybody understand my point here? Server side program. But in the distributed application, the terminology is going to be changed. We cannot say client and server in general. We can say local mission and remote mission. We can use the terminology like what there? Local mission and remote mission. Local mission and remote mission. Observe carefully. Local mission, then what next one? Remote mission. All right. As per this distributed application architecture, at remote mission, we are going to write there some application, remote application, or remote service. We used to say it's what there? A remote service. Answer my point here. It's like what there? A remote service or remote application. Either of the things are okay, fine. Now, this is like what there? A Java program we are going to write at client mission also. This is like what there? Local application, client application, or test case, whatever it may be, client application. This is remote service, or this is like what there? A client application. This is not a browser. Please remember this. This is not a browser. Observe carefully. Now here, between these two, what you are having there, no network is available. Between these two, network is existed here. Everybody understand this point here. Network. Okay, fine. Here we are able to have a set of finish sections. This is not browser. And this is like what there? A set of finish sections here. At the same time, here also be a set of finish sections are available. Okay, fine. Now, what's going to be happen actually when we submit a request? That means both, first of all, both the applications have to be executed. This we have to be executed, this we have to be executed. And please remember this, here we are having one JVM and this is here we are having like what there? Another JVM. Both the JVMs must be executed their applications. Now this is like what there? Client side JVM and this is like what there? Server side JVM, remote JVM. Both JVMs have to run their applications. When both the applications are running parallelly, then what happened there? First, client will send request to, that means client application will send a request to what their remote service. And of course, server software is available. It will take that request, then it will identify the remote service. Now that remote service will be executed here. By the execution of these remote services, no, automatically what happened there? No, some response will be generated. That response will be given to like what their client application. The response will be given to like what their client application there. Yes, sir, got it or not? So instead of saying this client application, still I want to go for some other terminology. This is like what their local application, local application, local machine and local application. Of course, with respect to this remote, this is acting as a client application. Understand this clearly. So this is going on here. Now this is available here. This also be JVM. We can use it. Then this also be what their JVM. Sir, all of you get my point or not? Now just compare these two applications. In the case of web application, client is what? Browser. Our entire application is distributed single server machine or not? But in the case of distributed applications, what happened there? Our application logic is available at both the client and server or not. That means two Java programs parallelly have to be executed. Client program has to submit request to the server, remote mission. Remote program has to give some response to the client application. Got my point or not? So here client is not fixed in the case of remote applications. In the case of distributed applications, client is not fixed. Answer my point here, no? Right, sir. Client is not fixed for remote application here. Client may be a normal Java program. Client may be a normal Java program with a main method. Client may be a servlet program. Client may be a servlet program. Client may be a framework application like Spring application. That client may be anything, struts application. That client may be JSF application. Anything we can take as a client. It is not fixed one. But remote service is available. That remote service is required inside like what there? Client application. Sir, all of you get my point or not? Okay, fine. Anyway, in the distributed application, application logic is distributed over multiple machines at a local machine and at what the remote machine. Still, this diagram is not completed. Just wait for the minute of time. I'll explain that clearly now. Right, sir. Now here, let me conclude one point here. What is that point here? What is web application and what is distributed application here I've given? In web application, the complete application logic is provided to server machine, single server machine. But in distributed applications, the complete application logic is provided at a local machine as well as like what their remote machine here now. That means we can say instead of taking this client here, I can say like what their local mission and what next one here no a remote mission here. We can use this terminology. That will be good thing. All right, sir. This is one point. Next point number two. All of you observe carefully. In web applications, client is a fixed. That is browser. In web applications, client is fixed. That is what there. That is browser. But in distributed applications client whenever I'm taking this client no just we can understand like what their local application here up to now I'm giving clarity there. Client is local application now. Then what is this client here? Client is not fixed. Client is not fixed. It may be observe carefully, it may be a normal Java program with the main method. It may be a normal Java program with a main method, or it may be a GUI application with the applet, a normal GUI program with applet that client may be, or it may be a servlet program, it may be a servlet, or it may be a framework application, a framework applications like struts or maybe JSF or maybe what there, Spring and so on. It may be anything. It may be anything. Observe carefully. What exactly the meaning of like what there? This distributed application. I'm telling you. Got my point or not? Let's understand this now. I want to extend the same point here. I think we are in confusion now. Exactly about this web application and about this remote based application there both are like what there client server might be applications only, but in this like what there in the remote application client is not fixed. It's definitely a Java program. It may be a normal Java program, it may be an applet, or it may be like what there a struts application or JSF application or Spring application. It may be anything, but actually remote logic is available at what mission there no remote service is available. But how, sir, how this architecture is going on? Is it completely an enterprise application? If you want to make it is an enterprise application, this distribute application, if you want to make it is an enterprise application, here we are going to provide one more layer of components. What are these one more layer of components? No, now observe carefully. Here we can use like what there, a mobile phone. It may be like what there, a mobile phone, mobile client. It may be like what there, mobile phone and mobile client. So here mobile application can, okay, then before that I'm telling to you, observe carefully. I want to take this entire local application in a server. I may use like what there, an application server. I'll keep this entire local application in what there, an application server, maybe Tomcat or maybe Wellbrowser or whatever it may be, some server, application server. So here we may have like what there, a mobile client, or maybe here we are able to have like what there, a browser. Here we may have like what there, a browser. Browser is acting as what there, a client, another client here, web client. We can understand this clearly. This is mobile client, and this is like what there, a web client. Observe carefully. Got my point or not? This may be a mobile client, or it may be like what there, web client. Anything. It may be anything. Like this, we are able to have so many components. Like this here, we are able to have what there, so many components, so many clients are available. Observe carefully. Like this, so many clients are existed here. Now here, what I'm telling there, our web client, or maybe this we can take now as a consideration here, web client. It will send a request to like what their application server. Server will take that request, server will execute the respective application. Then what it will do there, this application, by the execution of this application, it will send again request to what their remote service. Remote service will be executed. Remote service will give some response here. Then it will prepare the response. That final response will be given back to like what their web application. Got it or not? This is another layer of clients are available or not? This is perfect distributed application. This is perfect what their distributed application. Observe carefully. Of course, I can give one standard example also. By that we can understand clearly. Think of it. Think of it. One simple, very simple example. All of you understand this clearly. Very, very simple example. Durgasoft has a website, durgasoft.com. Understand, guys, what I'm telling you. Durgasoft.com is available. Durgasoft is conducting some courses. Say, for example, today you are attending these courses now. Okay? Today you are attending this demo class, for example. So you want to register for the course. You want to register for the course. So that means you want to pay the payment for this course. Understand it clearly. So what user wants to do, one approach is, in general, what is the approach here we are following there? User make a call to our Durgasoft front office. They will get details, and that front office people are giving some account details. Then users are giving some payment. It is worked out in a small scale applications, in small scale organizations. In very small scale organizations, it's okay, it will be worked out. But if Durgasoft is a large scale organization, per day, how many customers are coming there? Not like 10 or 20 or like this customers no. Maybe thousands of customers are coming every day. Thousands of customers are coming every day. How they're going to pay the payment? No. Do you think about it? All thousands of customers are calling to Durgasoft front office. They're getting account details and again paying that payments. No. Is it worked out in this scenario? No. Why? Because per day 1000 number of calls for a single mobile number, in the sense, of course, our people are unable to lift that calls. Automatically that we are going to lose our business. And even customers are also be not satisfied very well. So this is not the right solution. Then what is the right solution there? Right solution is what there? That payment we have to made it automatically. Automatic, that means gateway we have to provide. Payment gateway we have to provide. So as a solution, what we are going to provide there, in a durgasoft.com, we need to provide some option for payments. We have to allow payments through what there? Durgasoft.com. Okay, clear. Now here what we have done there, in a durgasoft.com, inquiry for the course, register for the course. Two modules here we provided. If you want to know details of this course, inquiry for the course. After getting some inquiry, if you want to register for the course, register course option is available. then go for this course. Click on this course, then select the courses, no, then go for what is the payment process. There is a button there. If you click on that button, then payment gateway page here we are able to get. Got it or not? Okay. In that payment gateway, you may enter your data. What data here we are able to enter the maybe credit code number or maybe UPI numbers, UPI ID, something else. Here we are able to provide different modes of payments now. Finally, proceed for payment option is available. You may click on that proceed for payment. When we click on that, then what will happen there? Again, that payment request will come to durgasoft.com only. Now, observe carefully. Now, if durgasoft.com wants to accept the payments now through online, Durgasoft must require banking services or not? Durgasoft must require what their banking services or not? But Durgasoft doesn't have its own banking service now. Durgasoft is not a bank service. Durgasoft is what there is a training institute. It doesn't have any bank as of now. But it must take some banking services or not? Durgasoft must have one account now, account there, and that account must be available in a particular bank. Then all the transactions which are incoming to the durgasoft.com, that all the transactions must be diverted to the respective bank or not. So Durgasoft needs one bank service or not. Say for example, understand this clearly. Durgasoft wants to take the banking services from ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank. Durgasoft has an account number in ICICI Bank. Durgasoft wants to get services from what there? ICICI Bank. Observe carefully. Okay, this is the scenario. Whenever we click on proceed for payment, request will come to Durgasoft. Then immediately what Durgasoft has to do now, that request must be bypassed to what there, that request will be sent to what there, that bank, corresponding bank. Bank people will perform the respective transaction. Then acknowledgement of the transaction will be given to durgasoft.com. Now durgasoft.com will provide some UI part and it able to send that receipt of the respective transaction to the respective user. Yes, sir. Got my point or not? Now just compare that architecture in our mind. Now think about this architecture now. Distributed application. Now this is user, web client, for example, user, myself is a user. Now I open my computer. Then where I open my browser, where I type it durgasoft.com. Think of it, this local application is what there, durgasoft.com, my web application. Durgasoft.com is running under server one application server. Now this remote service is what there, ICICI Bank. Remote service is what there, ICICI Bank. Then where bank service is available. Got my point or not? All right, sir, exactly. Now here, when a user type www.durgasoft.com, Durgasoft homepage, then request is coming to the Durgasoft website. Durgasoft website is giving like what there, that homepage information to the respective user. In that homepage, inquiry for course and register for course, two options are available. Of course, you might be click on inquiry for the course. Again, request will come to durgasoft.com. Durgasoft.com is providing that course inquiry details, courses list. He might be identified that course is there. Then immediately may go for what there, register for the course. When you click on register for the course now, again request will come to what there, request will come to durgasoft.com. Now this time durgasoft.com will provide one course registration page. Inside this course registration page, course name and course details, along with that course details no, payment details are also be provided. Credit code number or debit code number or maybe UPI payment, some kind of UI has to be provided. Then user may select that what their UPI payment no, UPI payment or especially phone pay payment no, he may click on that phone pay option there. Automatically it is asking about that phone pay ID, mobile number or maybe some phone pay ID is available. ICICI, okay ICICI.com or something else no, the respective thing here. Then when that phone pay ID is available, he may enter that phone pay ID, then immediately may click on what their process pay. When you click on this process pay, request will come to what there, durgasoft.com. Now durgasoft.com is going to consume that ICICI payment service, ICICI payment service. Got my point or not? Now durgasoft.com is going to access what there, ICICI provided payment service. Then whenever this service here we are consuming from this Durgasoft website, no, automatically the payment is going to be done at ICICI Bank. Then transcript will be provided to the durgasoft.com. The transcript will be prepared in the form of like what there in user interface. That user interface related transcript will be provided back to what there web client. Now client is able to get the confirmation of the course and the acknowledgement for like what there respective payment. Everything is going to be happen. Now tell me here, local application is required or not? That is durgasoft.com server-side application. That's why I said to you, in a distributed application, client may be a normal Java program, or it may be a servlet, or it may be a JSP base, or it may be a GUI application, or it may be a struts application, or it may be a JSF application, or it may be a Spring application. It may be anything. Client may be anything, but server side application is what the remote application is what there. It should be a Java application. It should be in the form of a service. Now, in this overall example, now tell me web client or mobile client. Maybe if you want to operate everything through mobile phone, we can use that mobile client. Mobile client can interact with what there? Our server side application, Durga side application. Durga side application will consume that remote service there. ICSA provided remote service. All of you get my point or not? Now here, now tell me, is it clear cut distributed application or not? Will you do the same thing with this particular application here with the web application? No. Right, sir. Now understand this. In this particular distributed application, two parts are available. What are the two parts here? Observe carefully. This part, exactly this part, this web client and application server, local application. This part is what their web part. This part is what their web part. Yes, sir. All of you are getting my point or not? Only these two is what their web part. Now observe carefully. These two parts, if you observe this part here, now this entire part is what their distributed part. This part is what their distributed part. We can understand this client and up to half of this one is what their web area, web environment. Then remaining half of the like this one, remaining half of the application server, server-side application and this remote application. This is like what their distributed part here. Both integration is nothing but what their an enterprise application. Get my point or not? Then web and as well as what they're distributed, both are integrated. Then it is like what they're very good an enterprise application. So take any example nowadays. Nowadays, maybe that payment gateways are implemented through WhatsApp also. We can do some payments even through WhatsApp also. There also the same kind of architecture is going on. And so my point here, not only that, even that Facebook or anything, any kind of nowadays, that applications are going to be used what their distributed environment clearly. Right, so now this is exactly the point here, what I'm telling to you. Right, sir. Then after that, now the second point here I've given there, in the case of web applications, client is fixed, that is what their browser. But in the case of distributed applications, client is not fixed. Local application is not fixed. It may be a normal Java program with a main method. It may be a geo application with applet. It may be a servlet. It may be a framework applications like struts, JSF, Spring, and so on. Observe carefully. All of you are getting clarity or not? Right, sir. This is the second point here I'm telling them. Okay. Right, sir. Few more points are available. I'll discuss with you that few more points maybe in the next class. But understand it. Anyway, it's a somewhat introduction concepts here I'm taking, that total what exactly the content I'm going to be covered about the servlets and JSP is there. You will get as a link. You'll get as my what there WhatsApp message there. There we can get like what the total syllabus what I'm going to be covered as a part of the advanced Java. Right, servlets and JSPs are very much important if you want to move further in the Java environment. That is one thing, guys. Observe carefully. Okay. Then another point here, what I'm telling to you. All right, sir. Observe carefully. Then what I'm telling there, those who are in packages like advanced Java with packages might be some of you are taken. Next one is what there basic Java, not basic Java. Basic Java package up to advanced Java it's okay, but complete Java package and full stack Java. Next, after completion of this class, immediately we are having like what there Springer class. Today I'm going to take demo for what there Springer class. Observe carefully what I'm telling there. So you have to attend that Springer class also. That's the point here. Good. After that. Anyway, then I'll continue this part here in the next class. But when we are going to have next class there, when we are able to have next class here, observe carefully. Next class will be on Monday. Monday onwards, continuously I have to take like what there, that is servlets class only. Just today's basic introduction class, up to 2 points of this distributed application and web application we discussed there. Remaining part I will discuss with you on what there, Monday. Understand my point clearly? But tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, for servlets, we don't have any session. But in my old JDBC, two topics are remaining. The two topics I'm going to take. That means one topic is remaining. The topic I want to complete, that is like what are the row sets. So those who are attending regular JDBC 7 o'clock, you can come at tomorrow 7 o'clock. I'll take like what their row sets topic there. Answer my point now. But continuation of these servlets we are able to get on what day? On Monday. Observe carefully. Continuation of these servlets we are able to get on what there? Monday. Monday onwards, we are going to continue the content here. That's one thing. Observe carefully. Next, next, next Monday onwards, I'm going to take no. Observe carefully. The classes will be from Monday to then what we are thinking there Monday to Sunday. I think some of you might be thought about up to Saturday, right? No, then Monday to Sunday, including Sundays, we are planning the classes, especially on Saturdays and Sundays. Maybe max on Sundays. I'm planning there Sundays. Somewhat extra time we are going to take. Sundays extra time I'm going to take at least 3 hours of time I want to take. If it is possible from Saturday also. Saturday and Sunday, I want to take 3 hours on the servlets. Our intention is we have to complete a bit earlier more this advanced Java. For the frameworks people I'm telling there, those who are attending these frameworks know, as well as possible, if I complete this servlets and JSPs, there I'm going to start a Hibernate in place of the servlets and JSPs. Today at 8:30 I'm planning for what their spring. 8:30 to 10 spring. After that springboard. After that microservices. Then at morning 7 o'clock, when I complete these servlets and JSPs, in place of this, Hibernate I will start. Once Hibernate is completed, then I will plan for what their web services. These are like what the schedules clearly I'm telling there, right? Anyway, whatever it may be, those who are in packages, those who have taken already packages there, those who want to attend for the packages, no, you must attend for the spring class today at 8:30, 8:30 to 10. I'm going to take the class. Then I'm going to give clarity what I'm planning there, what I'm going to discuss with you clearly. Right, sir? Then after that, continuation of the servlet class is going to be happen on what there? Monday. Please remember this. This is a link I'm giving for the sake of watching our course material, like what their classroom notes. Try to use this one. If it is possible, I'm going to upload some applications inside this link itself. Classroom application there. If you prepare any application there, I'm going to upload that application into the respective content. Guys, understand this clearly, what I'm telling you, right? That's all, guys. That's all for today. Then we'll meet on like Monday. We can understand this clearly. But tomorrow and day after tomorrow, those who are attending JDBC classes, that we can come there. Some one topic is remaining. I'll complete the topic there, right? That's all, guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We'll meet on Monday, probably on tomorrow for JDBC. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Abhishek Sharma, not for you. Those who are attending 7 o'clock previously, they will come. Right. I think you are attending at what time there, Abhishek Sharma? At 10 o'clock, right? Yeah, 10 a.m. Not for you. Not for you. Previously, those who are attending 7 o'clock, they will come here. Then your class timing is as usual. Today we can attend at 10 o'clock. Then I'll give clarity. Right? Okay, fine. I don't know with the frameworks package. Should I join spring class? Yes, exactly. Abhijit Ross. Just we can attend for it. Spring class. The link for spring class already I given that. Already is available in the website. No, just check for that. Yeah, you can join with that. Right, guys. Now let me start spring class. No, within 10 minutes I'll start it. Okay, attend for it. Join 6 p.m. class with which class I have to join. Uh, uh, Pratmesh Madalkar, I think these batches are not for you. Okay, for you separately I will start advanced Java and as well as like what there some other. Don't come for this class there. You will not understand this. If you're at evening 6 p.m. core Java, then these classes are not suitable for you. Those who are in the 6 p.m. core, see, we must have knowledge in JDBC and server core Java, complete core Java. Then only you can understand all these things. Not required to attend these classes. And separately, I'll give that information. Yesterday, I given already information to you at 6 o'clock. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. But you may not understand this if you attend that. Still, try to attend today. Then we'll check the possibility. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Is my voice is clear to all of you guys? Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Is my voice is clear to all of you guys? Right, right. Right. Good morning, guys. And check it in the last class. So just I given the very basic awareness on servlets and the types of applications what we prepared in our content. Right, sir. Now let's see the content what I've given. I think we are discussing about the types of applications. Now tell me, all of you now tell me how many types of applications are existed there in Java. By using Java, we are able to prepare two types of applications. What are the two types of applications here we are able to prepare there? One is standalone applications, another one is what there? Like distributed or enterprise applications. They are the two types of applications here we are able to prepare. That's okay, fine. Now here, I'm asking one question there. What exactly the difference between standalone application and enterprise application or distributed application? If we come for this point, answers are very clear. If we design and execute any application without using client server architecture or without distributing application logic over multiple machines, then that application is called as standalone application. Again here, how many types of standalone applications are available? Two types of standalone applications. What are the two types of standalone applications here we are having there? First one is CUI application and second one is what there? GUI application. They are the two types of applications. So what is this CUI application and what is this GUI application there now? CUI application is a standalone application. It was designed in such a way to take input data from users through the command prompt and to provide output data to the users through the same command prompt. Here command prompt is acting as an user interface and it is supporting only characters data. Due to that reason, we can conclude that CU application, which are designed on the base of like what their command prompt, they're nothing but what their CU application there now. And some diagrammatic representation also we can given there. Then after that, GEO application. What exactly the GEO application? GEO application is a standalone application. It was designed in such a way to take input to data through the collection of graphic components and to provide output data through the same collection of graphic components. Where the collection of graphic components is called an user interface and it is supporting graphics data. That is the data which is represented in the form of graphic components. To prepare standalone applications, Java has provided a separate module in the form of what there J2SE, where J2SE has provided some predefined library in the form of the packages like java.lang, java.io, java.util for the sake of geo application, java.applet, java.awt, java x.spring, and so on. These many things are existed here now. Then after that, a simple diagram here I given there for this. After completion of this, then we started with what there an enterprise application. What is the meaning of this enterprise application? Enterprise application or distributed application. If we design and execute any application on the base of client server architecture or by distributing application logic over multiple machines, then that application is called distributed application or enterprise application. There are two types of enterprise applications or distributed applications. One is web applications, another one is what are the distributed applications. In other words, we can say web-based distributed applications, and second one is what they remote-based distributed applications. Then immediately here we are having a question. What are the differences between web applications and distributed applications? Now this question here we are getting clearly. That's it. All of you are getting clarity, no? There are given one or two differences clearly. The very first difference here are given there. Web application is a client server application where the complete application logic is provided at a server machine. Distributed application is a client server application where the complete application logic is distributed over multiple missions. What are these multiple missions actually? Local mission and a remote mission. Right, sir. In web applications, the client is fixed, that is browser. In web applications, client is always browser only. In a distributed applications, in a distributed applications, client is not a fixed. It may be a normal Java program with main method. It may be a GUI application with an applet. It may be GUI application with an applet. It may be a servlet, or it may be a framework application like what there starts with JSF, Spring, and so on. These are like what there. What I'm telling there clearly, that what exactly the meaning of like what their web application, and what is the meaning of like what their distributed application or an enterprise application. Up to this point can be understood clearly. At the end, I will take an example where I will show what is the role of the web and what is the role of the distributed application in an enterprise application. Then I will take one example, through that I will explain to you then how web part and the distributed application part, business part, is existed in our enterprise applications clearly. Right, sir. Now let's see the next point here. After completion of this, the third point here, all of you observe carefully, listen carefully. To prepare web applications, to prepare web applications, we have to use a set of technologies. We have to use a set of technologies called web technologies. What technologies can we have to use there? Web technologies. What are the various examples for these web technologies now? If we observe this clearly, HTML, then CSS, and so on. These are pages design totally. But with respect to Java, I'm talking there. To prepare these web applications, that means server side web application, I'm talking there. For that purpose, here we are having some other technologies like what there, CGI, right? Common Gateway Interface is one of the technology. Next one is like what there, servlets. Next one is what there, JSPs. Next one is what there, PHP. Next one is what there, Perl, and so on and so on and so on. So many. All if you observe carefully, so many technologies are available to prepare web applications. Of course, out of all these things, only the two technologies are getting very much demand in outside. What are the two technologies there? That is servlets and JSPs. These two technologies are having very good demand in outside. But we need to understand clearly why servlets and JSPs are getting very good demand when compared with the other web technologies. Right, now similarly, now come for this point. To prepare distributed applications, to prepare distributed applications, we have to use a set of, we have to use a set of technologies, we have to use a set of technologies called distributed technologies. Called as what there? Distributed technologies. A set of technologies called as distributed technologies. What are the various examples for distributed technologies here? If you observe this, so many technologies are available. Even in a J2SE also, one or two small technologies are available which are of course outdated. What are the things here we have to understand? Socket programming. If you observe my core Java classes there, where I have given networking topic, socket programming, where two programs I am prepared, client program and server program. Then by running both the programs, we establish some communication between both the programming, both the programs. So that's like what their local mission, remote mission, local application and remote application. Local application is interacting with the remote application and remote application is interacting with the local application, where some socket programming we have seen. Not only that, In the extension of socket programming, I give in another technology is like what there a remote method invocation RMI. A method is available at remote mission. That method we want to call from what there local mission. Local mission wants to access what there that remote methods which are available at a remote mission. So this is RMI that already we have seen that. Corba, common object request broker architecture or agent. Both are okay, fine. Common object request broker architecture agent. It's one type of distributed technologies. Next one after that EJBs, enterprise Java beans, enterprise Java beans. It's like what there EJBs. This is another one. Apart from these EJBs, next one is like what there we can understand web services. Web services. This is another technology, another distributed technologies, the pure distributed technologies, and so on. If anything is remaining, then we can include that clearly. Right, so now these are the various technologies here we have to understand. To prepare web applications, we have to use a set of technologies like what are there, web technologies, CGI, servlets, JSPs, PHP, parallel, and so on. To prepare distributed applications, we have to use a set of technologies called distributed technologies. Like examples are like what there, socket programming, RMI, Corba, EJBs, web services, and so on. Right. So these are the technologies point of view we can understand about like what there, distributed technologies and like what are their web technologies and web applications and distributed technologies. All right, so that's okay, fine. All of you observe carefully. One more point I'm telling to you. Listen carefully, all of you know. Both the web applications and distributed applications, both are server-side applications or not. Both the web applications and distributed applications, both are server-side applications or not. Understand it clearly. Yes, definitely both are what their server-side applications only. Both are on the base of like what their client-server architecture. Definitely both are required what their communication. Understand it clearly what I'm telling you now. Fine. To run both the applications, to execute both the web applications and distributed applications, to run both the applications, we need server. We need server software. Without server or without server software, we are unable to execute web applications and as well as like what their distributed applications. In both the cases, what we require there no server we require. Observe carefully. How many servers are available in outside? How many types of servers are available in outside? If you observe this, different types of servers are available for this. That very first one is like what their web servers, and the second one is what their application servers. Even examples for them is also not required immediately, but understand it no, two types of servers are available. What are the two types of servers? No, web servers, and the second one is what their application servers. Observe carefully. Here my question is, what is web server and what is an application server? What is the meaning of web server and what is the meaning of application server? This is my question. Listen carefully. Web server is able to provide, web server is able to provide environment to execute only web applications, not providing support for distributed applications. Web server is able to provide support for or service for or is able to provide very good environment to execute only web applications, not to execute any distributed applications. But whereas application server, if you observe this, application server is able to provide very good environment to execute both the types of applications like web applications and distributed applications. Any type of application here we can execute. All the types of applications we can run through what their like application server. But web server is able to provide environment for only what their web applications. Observe carefully what I'm telling you. Now here we don't require the comparison between web server and application server, but here we need the comparison between like web application and distributed application. If you observe this point clearly, web applications are executed by only web servers. Sorry, web applications are executed by both web servers and application servers. Guys, are able to follow my point or not? Web applications are executed by both web servers and application servers. Web applications are executed by both web servers and application servers. Why? Because application servers can execute both web applications and distributed applications. Web servers can execute only web applications. That's why given the point is like what there, web applications are executed by both web servers and application servers. But distributed applications, whereas distributed applications are executed by distributed applications are executed by only application servers. Distributed applications are executed by only what their application servers. Understand my point clearly? No? Still, if you are thinking about the example for this web server and application server, nowadays majority of the servers are application servers only. But still, if you want to take an example for web server, Tomcat 5.x version up to Tomcat 5.x version is like what their web server. Answer my point, then WebLogic or Glassfish. I think we already seen that WebLogic server, right, in JDBC, right? How to use that WebLogic server provided, JNDA provided data source. Already we have seen some examples over it. So WebLogic server, Glassfish server, Wildfly server or JBoss server, all these are related to what their application servers. All of you understand this clearly. All right, sir. Now this is one point. Next, I'm asking one more question to all of you guys. Now try to answer for it. Everybody. All of you answer for my question now. Who's executing our Java applications? Come on, guys. Who's executing our Java applications? JVM. Without having second thought, we can say JVM is executing our Java applications. Am I right or not? Another question. My another question here. Inside the JVM, who's executing our Java programs? No. Come on, inside the JVM, who is running our Java programs? No, an interpreter. Who is executing? No, an interpreter. Interpreter is executing our Java applications. Clear or not? Right, 1 minute. All right, sir. Similarly, all right. Similarly, server side applications are executed by servers. In general, we can say like this. Server side applications are executed by whom? Servers. This is in general awareness now. But my next question is inside the server, inside the server, who is responsible to execute our server side components? Server is able to execute server side components. That's nice. But inside the server, so many components are available. Which component is executing our server side components? That which tool or which thing is executing our server side component? If you come for this particular point, answer is very clear. Try to understand it. No, inside the server, there is a separate tool or component is available to execute our server side components. No, that separate one is container. The separate one is what there? Container. All of you observe carefully. Simple comparison. If I ask a question to you, who will execute Java program? JVM. Inside the JVM, who will execute Java program? No, an interpreter. Similarly, who will execute our server side program? No, server. Inside the server, who will execute our server side components? No, container. Container is able to execute our server side components. Yes, all of you are getting my point or not? Now listen carefully. Web application is the combination of web components like servlets and JSPs. Am I right or not? Web application is the combination of the web components like servlets and JSPs. These web components are executed by a separate container. These web components are executed by a separate container, that is web container. That is what their web container. Again, depending on the type of the web component, again, so many containers are available. One is a servlet container to execute servlet components. Other one is a JSP container to execute JSP components, and so on. So many containers are available. CGI container, maybe depending on the technology, depending on the server side technology, what we have used to prepare components. No, a separate container was provided. One is a web container. Next one is what there? JSP container. That means web container in the sense servlet container, JSP container, and so on and so on and so on. So many containers are existed. Similarly, distributed application is the collection of Java beans and the collection of distributed components like EJB components. Distributed application is a collection of Java beans and the distributed components like what their EJB components, which are executed by a separate container. These distributed components are recognized and executed by a separate container. That is what their distributed container. An example for a distributed container is what their EJB container. An example for a distributed container is what their EJB container. So now my point is very much clear. When we compare the differences between web application and distributed application, your answer is very clear. Try to understand it. No, web application is the collection of web application is a collection of web components. Web components. Here, web components are executed by the web containers like servlet containers, comma JSP container, and so on in web servers. In the servers, that's it. I'm telling to you, in the servers. It may be web server, or it may be like what the application server, whatever it may be in the servers. All these are like what they're different containers inside what they're servers, inside the servers, that we have to understand now. Next one is after that. Distributed applications, distributed applications, distributed application is the collection of distributed distributed components like Java beans, comma EJB components, and so on. EJB components and so on. All right, sir. Where the distributed components are executed by the distributed containers like EJB container and so on. Right, sir. Understand my point? No? Web application is a collection of web components where web components are executed in the web containers like what there servlet container, JSP container, and so on. Right, sir. By the web containers like what there servlet container, JSP container, and so on in the servers. Distributed application is a collection of distributed components like Java beans, comma EJB components. No, where the distributed components are executed by the distributed containers like what there EJB containers in the servers. In the servers, the server should be what there application server only. The server should be like what there application server only. Everybody understand this point clearly. Next one is after that, after completion of this web application and distributed application, their servers and containers related information here we provided here. Next one is after that, all of you observe carefully. Right, sir. There is a question. Web and distributed applications both are developed by Java only. Why web server not supporting, like web server not supporting for distributed applications? Yeah, there I'm giving some point to you now. Try to understand it clearly. But if you want to answer for this question, we have to talk right from very starting point of the technologies. But anyway, in a simplified manner, I want to give conclusion for it. Now try to understand it now. Here the question is what there? Both web servers and application servers are designed by using Java only. Okay, or maybe web applications and distributed applications are designed by using Java only. But why web servers are not supporting distributed applications? This is a question, guys. All of you observe carefully. Right. In general, initially at a very startup stage of the technologies, at a very beginning stage of the application development, server side application development, there we have only web servers. There we have only what their web servers. Their intention is also be like what they not to provide any dynamic response. They have to provide only what their static response. What is the meaning of the static response now? Just like websites, 10 or 15 number of pages we have to provide. If I click on one hyperlink, I want to move from one page to another page. Up to that one I want to have. For because of that reason here, we are going to have like what there some servers. That's the meaning of initial intention of web servers. Understand my point here? But later on, as per the application requirements, we have to provide, or maybe developers have to provide some dynamic response in web applications also. As per the later on requirements, some dynamic response has to be provided in web applications also. That situation is coming. Not completely dynamic response, a little bit. As per the requirement, a little bit we have to generate some dynamic response. By this only, the technologies like servlets and JSPs, these kind of things are provided. Understand my point here? So later on, by introducing these servlets and JSPs, no, later on, some web servers are converted into to execute servlets and JSPs to generate little bit dynamic response, not only static response. Along with the static response, little bit dynamic response is going to be provided. In that way, that web servers are converted to provide little bit dynamic response. Understand my point here? This is a story. But initially, at starting point of the applications, no, application servers are available. They're purely for the sake of what their dynamic response. They're purely for the sake of what their dynamic response can. The complete dynamic response can. Especially like distributed technologies like EJBC is available. It's purely server-side programming, then distributed local machine or remote machine kind of requirement is coming there. They're purely for the sake of what their dynamic response. But later on, web applications are also be generating a little bit dynamic response. No, so web servers are turned to generate little bit dynamic response. This is initial intention of the web servers and application servers. Observe carefully. Right, sir. Later on, what I'm telling there, after that, another point is what there. Web servers are providing little bit dynamic response and more concentration is on what their static response. Distributed application servers are totally for the sake of what their dynamic response and especially EJB's applications. Right. Now here the point is what there. Distributed applications require some middleware services. Distributed applications are required what there? Some middleware services like a security service maybe, transaction service maybe, connection pooling service maybe, exception handling services maybe, like this JCA, Java Connector Architecture maybe, like a JNDA service maybe. So many middleware services are required inside like what the distributed application. But these many middleware services are not required in what their web applications. These many middleware services are not required in what their web applications, but full of middleware services are required in what their distributed applications. As per the concentration of the web applications and its a lesser dynamic response, web servers are prepared now. So they are not giving much support for all the middleware services. They're able to give like middleware services support up to one or two services now. But the distributed applications are required full of middleware services, no? So application servers are mainly for distributed applications, no? So application servers are giving that full stack of the middleware services support. Understand my point here? So because of that reason, web servers are not sufficient to execute distributed applications, but whereas application servers are sufficient, are supporting, are giving that full environment for executing what their distributed applications. The simple conclusion, forever question in a single line, if you want to conclude, no, only one point I'm telling there. Web applications doesn't require middleware services completely, but whereas distributed applications required middleware services completely. So to run web applications, web servers are sufficient. Web servers are providing web environment, but not complete stack of the middleware services. But whereas distributed applications require complete stack of the middleware services, where application servers are providing the complete stack of the middleware services. Because of that reason, to execute web applications, web servers and both application servers are utilized, but to execute distributed applications, only application servers are utilized, web servers are not sufficient. Their capabilities are not sufficient. Yes, sir. All of you are getting my point or not? So because of that reason, web applications are executed in both the servers, but distributed applications are executed in only application servers. Please remember this point clearly. Right, sir. Nice, guys. Now let's move on to the next point here. Yeah, the same point. The sixth point almost all related to the same point. Now try to understand it clearly. Web applications, web applications are mainly for static response and a little bit dynamic response from servers. A little bit dynamic response from servers. Understand, guys, what I'm telling to you, know, a little bit dynamic response from servers. That means it's more focus is on what there, static response and a bit dynamic response. That is up to servlets and JSPs only. Observe carefully. But now understand this clearly about this distributed applications I'm telling there. Distributed applications are having main concentration on the communication between distributed applications are having the main concentration on the communication between local mission and the remote mission in order to consume remote services from local mission in order to consume remote services from local mission. More concentration is going on what there, on the communication between, on what their communication between local mission and remote mission in order to access a remote mission application, remote service. The remote service is available at what there, some other mission there clearly. Understand my point here now? So now understand clearly. Web applications are mainly for what there, static response and a little bit dynamic response on server. But distributed applications are mainly for what there, how to establish communication between local mission and remote mission, and how to access that remote service, how to consume remote service which are available at what there no remote missions can know. This is what exactly the meaning of like what there, the differences between web applications and distributed applications. But so like this, so many differences are available. But at present, these differences are sufficient to understand our requirement to go for web applications. That basic awareness is sufficient here, clearly. No? Right, yes. Then again, I'm asking, do you know, try to answer for it? What exactly the differences between web applications and distributed applications? There may be at a fresher level, interviewer may ask this question to you. There we have to give right answer for it. Now understand this clearly. The very first difference is what I'm telling to you. Web application is a client server application where the complete application logic is provided at a server machine. Whereas distributed application is a client server application where the complete application logic is distributed over multiple missions that are local mission and remote mission. Next one is what there. In web applications, client is fixed, that is browser. In distributed applications, client is not a fixed. It may be a normal core Java program with main method. It may be a geo application with an applet, or it may be a servlet, or it may be a framework applications like what there, Struts, JSF, Spring, and so on. Next one is after that. To prepare web applications, we have to use a set of technologies called web technologies. All right, sir. To prepare distributed applications, we have to use a set of technologies called distributed technologies. Examples for distributed technologies are like what there? socket programming, RMI, Corba, EJBs, web services, and so on. Next one here. Web applications are executed by the web servers and application servers, whereas distributed applications are executed by only application servers, not by web servers. Still, if you want to talk about the more internal reason, web applications doesn't require web services, middleware services, whereas distributed applications require middleware services. Web servers are not providing full stack middleware services, no, as a support, but application servers are providing what there all middleware services support. So because of that reason, application servers are only for what their distributed applications, and web servers are not for what their distributed applications. Leave this one. Web application is a collection of web components where web components are executed by the web containers like a servlet container, JSP container, and so on in the servers. Distributed application is a collection of distributed components like Java beans, EJB components, where the distributed components are executed by the distributed containers like what their EJB container in the servers. Next one, web applications are mainly for static response and a little bit dynamic response from servers, but the dynamic, that means distributed applications are having main concentration on the communication between local machine and a remote machine in order to consume remote services from local machine. Yes, sir, all of you are getting it or not? Now, all of you observe carefully. I'm going to give one conclusion. I'm going to give one conclusion. Now, try to understand it now. In general, enterprise application is the combination of web layer and distributed application layer. Distributed application layer. Again, I'm telling to you, try to understand it clearly. Where web layer is mainly for presentation in enterprise application, where web layer is mainly for what their presentation, how much in a more effective way we are presenting the content to the user, getting data from user and presenting data to the user. Answer my point, Keno. And distributed distributed application layer is mainly for business logic. Is mainly for what their business logic. Mainly for what their business logic. That's it. This is that another point here I'm telling to you clearly in what their enterprise application. In other words, I'm telling to you enterprise application is equal to web plus distributed web application and distributed web plus distributed, both web layer and what next one distributed layer plus a distributed layer. You can understand it. Both the combination is nothing but what there an enterprise application. Sir, all of you are getting clarity or not? Now let's come for one simple example. All of you, I want to take one simple example through that I'll explain to you. By that you can understand what is the role of web and what is the role of the distributed now. Right? Right, sir. Now observe carefully. For example, Durga Soft wants to allow the students to register courses through online. Of course, online classes are available and offline classes are available. Both are existed now. But if you want to register for the courses, Durgasoft is allowing some online courses registration. That portal is provided by Durgasoft, for example. Okay. So how it is possible there? Durgasoft.com website is available. Through the Durgasoft.com only, now this total transactions maybe, that courses registration maybe, everything is going to be happen. Got my point or not? But how it is going to be performed, how it is going to be provided there now. Let's see this part here. First of all, here we are having durgasoft.com. This is like what I'm telling there, a website, durgasoft.com website. This is like what there, durgasoft.com, a website. Understand it? This website was designed on the base of like what there, Java. Or maybe you can use might be some other technologies, but assume it, it's a Java. Alright, sir. Now inside this, then what we are having there, registration form is available. Course registration form is available that is opened by user in our system, in our browser, www.durgasoft.com. When we type no, Durgasoft home page will come where course registration link. If we click there, it is asking which course you want to register. Then if you select some course, for example Java, automatically the course registration form will open for us. Now this is like what I'm telling there, registration form dot html or maybe JSP, HTML or JSP, whatever it may be. For your understanding purpose, I have taken like what there, HTML. Observe carefully. Right, sir. As simple as I want to provide some simple fields. No, try to understand this. First of all, name of the student. That's enough. Next one is like what there, course. What course here we want to take. Then after that, when we select the course, automatically fee is going to be selected. Then after that, next one is credit code details, credit code number, or we can go for like what there, UPI payment and UPI ID. Anything, whatever you want to use it, that payment option is available there. But for example, we want to go for like what their credit code number. Okay, then whenever we are taking this credit code number like this, no, here we want to go for like what there, directly submit button. Submit button. Of course, in the real-time application, so many fields are available, but required fields only here I provided for demonstrating the requirement. All right, guys. Now tell me, all of you know, why we are taking this credit code number, for the sake of transaction or not? For the sake of transaction or not? For the sake of course of fee or not? Okay. Now this is registration form dot html. All right, sir. Now here what we are going to do there, I'll provide some data here. First of all, name here we want to provide there. Something else like what there, Durga. Course name is like what there, say for example Java. Then the course fee is like what they say, for example, 30,000. Full stack Java, for example, here they provided. So now get 30,000, for example. Next one is credit code number that user might be providing something else, ABC123. Some credit code numbers, maybe some expiry date and all required details might be taken here. Okay. Then after that, click on what button here, no, submit button. Click on what button here, no, submit button. All of you observe carefully. When we click on the submit button, automatically a request will come to the durgasoft.com. Request is coming to what there, durgasoft.com, along with the user provided data. Along with that request, that user provided data will come to durgasoft.com. Now here what durgasoft.com is able to do, what is the job of the durgasoft.com? It has to take the data, then it has to complete course registration process. Then finally it has to give some acknowledgement. What is that acknowledgement there? Then at the end, it has to provide some information to the user. What is that information there? No, let's observe this clearly. That information should be, all right, Hello Durga, your course registration was done successfully. We will let you know. We will let you know the demo details or something else. Demo details like this, we are able to provide what there some response. Yes, sir. Got my point or not? This is what exactly the response here we are expecting from what there from durgasoft.com. Of course, durgasoft.com is able to provide some invoice also for the user with a link of that invoice in the response. Okay, understand it. Now this is request and a response here. And this is like what their response. Guys, now tell me, this registration form.html is available in the browser or not? This is the final response here we are able to get in what their browser or not? Okay. Now let's coming to the point, main point. When we submit request to the durgasoft.com with the data, what durgasoft.com has to do now? Durgasoft.com has to get the data from the form and it has its own database there.